Well, hello. Here we are. Pod 6.
Episode 6.
Episode 6.
Officially past the halfway mark.
We're over the hump.
We're over the hump.
And it's Wednesday. So, yeah. Here we are.
And it's Wednesday. I guess it is weird because we're filming on a Wednesday.
Yeah. He was busy yesterday, apparently.
That's okay. That's okay.
But, you know, we still...
Gotta do what you gotta do.
We still survive. But, you know, hey, we're here. And we're ready.
We're ready.
And we got a little spicy one today. Kind of spicy, I would say. Depends on which side you're on. If you're on
This is by no means a political agenda either.
Yes. It's just, you know, in these times. Yeah, in these times.
Okay. So weird. In these times.
No, in these times, it's just...
Confusing.
It is confusing.
It's
and there's so many
confusing.
different, like, churches.
There's a bug in my coffee. Oh, my gosh.
It's a little flavor. Little protein.
That is so sad.
We're going to have to restart this.
No, we're not restarting.
I'm dead.
I literally... That blows.
You just took a sip of it, too.
Maybe I'll just, like...
Forget and then just drink it.
No. Well, what if I just go, like, scoop it out real quick?
I mean, we can do anything.
Oh. You just...
I stared at them.
Okay, cool. I'll let you open up. Were you checking to make sure there wasn't a bug in your coffee?
So, yeah, it was just... What we're talking about today could be a little... It could be fun.
It will be more hammered down than... Well, not hammered down as in, like... I don't know. It's just a different type of...
Well, at some point, you're going to have to be like, okay, there's this, and then there's this.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of that in the Bible.
Yeah, there is.
It's not always... There's some gray areas in the Bible, for sure. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of black and white areas, too, so...
Black, white, and gray in the Bible.
Yeah. And it's not really up for really interpretation.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean by that?
Well,
First of all, this idea wasn't ours.
yes, this is actually a comment that...
This is a DM we got
Yeah.
by one of my good friends.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out.
You want to ask what the question is? If you
Yeah,
remember it?
actually, I can read it out off of Instagram. Let me do that.
But hope y'all are doing well. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And share this with your friends. If you have a friend that's going through this, let them know so that they can do better.
So, Mamoon asks, fellow watcher of the pod here, you guys should discuss progressiveness in today's world and how it's slowly making its way into religion and whether that's a good or a bad thing.
Which is a great question.
So we'll just automatically take the Christianity approach, I guess.
Yeah. Because, like, I don't think it's really... mainly because I'm kind of ignorant to other religions.
Sure.
Of, like, how it's reaching into other religions.
Mm-hmm.
But I can definitely speak for sure of what's happening in
Yeah.
Christianity. But, like, 'cause I don't know if there's, like, any Islam or anything like that.
Mm.
Like, if there's any progressiveness to it.
Yeah.
From, like, that is kind of, like, seeping into it.
Yeah.
That is, like, changing its ways or anything like that. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
So I can't really speak on that, but...
True. Yeah, I guess so. Like the idea or the myth of progressiveness, if we're speaking on it outside of Christianity, would be the theory that we in like life and everything is on a linear path, like on a linear curve.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically what my research is.
Yeah, and so because like outside of Christianity, you can say like progressiveness can be like a very good thing, because I mean, hey, slaves was the bad thing. We're progressive and we progress past that. And so we're past that. And so women are able to vote now.
It's basically,
so it's like progressive can be a very good thing.
But on the other end, it is basically a communist ideology.
It can be, and in the wrong aspects of it, for sure.
Because at the end of the curve, you're hitting, total equality.
Yeah, because it's like if you don't have any set values, then everything's up for grabs. Anything can be challenged, which, in a sense, you should, but that shouldn't change the fact that, okay, we believe this, and this is our core value.
Yeah.
That we've done research on it, we challenged this, and this is what we believe, and this is not changing because this is a core value we have.
Yeah.
And so, especially in Christianity, where there's certain core values in Christianity that are just, they shouldn't be compromised, that a lot of progressive churches have done.
Yeah, that's a good point that you make, I think, because ultimately that leads to someone's deconstruction in their faith. Even I think I've seen people hit that point and they don't even realize it.
Yeah, for sure. You know? And I think it's just people, they don't like one thing, so they kind of they push back to it, but then they push back at it the wrong way. Because I believe that deconstructing itself isn't necessarily bad as long as you're keeping, you're going back to the word for it. Okay, we it's like a foundation. So as long as you the cornerstone, the chief cornerstone.
Yeah.
What's in the Bible? If you have the God's word as a cornerstone, the foundation of what you believe, and then throughout the years you've built up this stuff on top of that, that you're looking well, maybe this isn't what I was told before, and I'm kind of you've just grown up in church, and churches say things the love of money is the root of all evil, and all that. But then maybe they didn't say the love of money; they said the money the root of all evil. Because I know that was a big thing, and so it's you believe that for so long, but then you read the word, and you're oh wait, that's not what the Bible says, and so it's you're deconstructing what you've been told for all these years, going back to what the word actually says.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what is a good part of deconstructing. But it's when people take their deconstructing and are oh, the Bible isn't divinely inspired, and it's not what it's inherently flawed.
Yeah.
And so they look outside the Bible for that. And I think that's where it starts to get really shaky and bad.
Do you know people personally who've deconstructed their faith? Do you know people who've gone down that path?
I think I have. I just can't think of them off the top of my head, but I think I have, just because. No, I just popped in my head.
Yeah.
It's it was just one of them. He believed that Jesus wasn't the only way anymore. He's I don't he doesn't believe that Christianity isn't the only way to heaven. So it's
that's tough.
Yeah, it's just that's one of the core values that no one comes to me.
How do you think he came to that conclusion? Just by other people?
College.
Oh, that'll happen.
So it's just whenever you go to a secular university, I think that you can, and you're not protected, and surround yourself with good people, you can get influenced very heavily.
Yeah.
And so that can get really shaky.
We still love those people, though.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's hard because it's you grow up with them, and then they're oh, hey, I actually don't believe Jesus is the way anymore. Oh,
I am the way, the truth.
Yeah, and it's they're looking, they hear stuff outside of the Bible.
To the Father except through me.
Yeah, and so it's they look for stuff outside of the Bible for that.
Yeah,
and if you really think about it, the Bible is so crazy. I urge you, if you want to know something that's insane, is look up all of the possibilities and the probabilities of stuff that happens in the Bible, let alone Jesus, all the probabilities of him completing the prophecies that were prophesied about him is insane.
Yeah, what was one of the Pastor Sean used the analogy like if the whole I could be butchering it.
The silver dollar thing.
The silver dollar.
So yeah.
Yes.
So
what was it? If the earth was covered.
well, okay. So it's if if there was a human being that was able to complete 8 prophecies of what that has been like that Jesus completed. Granted, Jesus completed over 200 prophecies.
Yeah.
That were prophesied over him.
Yeah.
But if a natural person, were to fulfill 8 of them, you would take a silver dollar, mark it,
Mm-hmm.
then you would have to fill up all of Texas 2 feet high, and drop that silver dollar anywhere over there, and then have someone fly over blindfolded, randomly drop them and have them pick them up. That's the probability that they would be that they would, so one person would be able to
fulfill a prophecy.
8 prophecies.
8 prophecies. Wow.
Out of the
over
200 that he fulfilled. So it's just like
that's a crazy, like it's a crazy like numbers thing.
Yeah, and it's just like there's that, and then there's other things about how, just what was it? I literally just lost it. All the authors are literally like they don't can contradict each other, but they're
at all.
Yeah, and and they're actually fulfilling each other, and it's just
yeah. In each timeline, have you ever looked at a timeline graph?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's insane.
Like insane.
Yeah, with the prophecies too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's wild.
And it's just and let alone there's enemies of Jesus, the people who hated Jesus.
Yeah,
wrote confirming that he rose from the dead.
Yep.
Stuff like that. There was so many eyewitnesses that saw him raised from the dead after his crucifixion.
It's crazy to think about, like, and this is just like a weird nugget. I don't even know if this will make any sense, but like, have you ever like just sat down and like wondered like, so this is the time that I live in, and like the possibility that someone thousands of years ago, prior to me being alive, like wrote, like we'll take any sort of document, for example, and that made it through the generations to my time now, and I can read that. Yeah. Like, isn't that crazy? Like, like my brain like hurts thinking about that. Like, someone thousands of years ago wrote something. Yeah. And their words that they wrote, I'm reading on a page right in front of me. Yeah. Thousands of years later.
Which is insane. Yeah. Let alone, but it's like, also too, that's a whole nother part of like, if you go to any other historic figure, they have some sort of like legitimacy about like people writing about them, stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But Jesus has like, his credibility is like, so like this is gonna be a rough like guesstimation, because like I can't remember yeah, but this is kind of like around it. So like, let's say what was his name? The guy like Napoleon. Yeah. He had like, let's say 40 legitimacies written about him that confirmed that he was real. Well, Jesus would have like over 2,000 kind of stuff that confirming that he was real. And so it's just like, there's stuff like that, like, don't quote me on that, because there's like a whole study that wasn't accurate. It's just like representation, kind of like of what it is. But it's just stuff like that is like, it's just like, how can you, that's why I'm like, just nerd out and like, like go deep into the Bible.
What is like your favorite book that you've like read that you were kind of like it kind of hurt your brain to read?
Dude, Genesis, dog.
Genesis,
really? Dude. Especially after, so kind of funny is like I've read Genesis 100 times. Like, especially growing up in church, I've read it 100 times. But ever since kind of like my new roommate Paul, love Paul. He's really into theology and all that, and so he kind of re-challenged me on it, on like just Genesis 1.
Sure.
And I'm like, and so I was like, okay, it was like, we talked about it, I was like, that's pretty interesting. So like, I literally went back and reread Genesis 1, and I was like, dude, it's just, everything's just started, like, it felt like so new. I'm like, I literally spent probably 4 to 5 days on literally just Genesis 1. Yeah. Just because I'm like, I get to verse, 1 through 3, like I spent like probably 2 or 3 days on 1 through 3, just because I was like looking up like the Hebrew, like the original Hebrew of it.
Yeah.
What this could mean. What does this mean? Like, what does it mean that his face was over the over the face of the deep?
Yeah.
Like, what is the deep?
What does that mean?
What is that?
Let me research
like
that.
over the face of the waters.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like there's just like, and so like the little nugget here is she was like, so in the Hebrew, it said like instead of in the beginning, the Hebrew says when God began creating.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what does that mean? Was there stuff before he was creating? Did he create stuff before? Like, so it was just like, you can kind of nerd out and go crazy on stuff like that to where it's just like, what does it mean? Like, obviously it's not like theologically groundbreaking, shaking like your core beliefs of what Christianity is.
Yeah.
But it's just stuff like, is like, it's so cool. I find it very interesting.
Yeah. So mine would have to be, the first one would have to be Ezekiel. In the Ezekiel encounters.
I need to go reread those.
Dude, the descriptions in Ezekiel like hurt my brain.
Really?
Like just how he described what he saw. Like you can't even imagine it in your brain because you've never seen something or like it's nothing like cinema could ever recreate. That
was a good thing. Your uncle Steven, I think he's your uncle, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think so.
Is it your uncle or is it something else? But yeah, your uncle. Him and Paul did a little podcast and they were talking about that. It's like, if you really think about it, like humans aren't really like as imaginative as we think we are.
No.
Go
read Ezekiel, bro.
Like literally, like anything that we try to think of has been done before.
Oh yeah,
100%. Like any stories that we have made, and so it's like we're not really capable of creating an own religion. We've taken it from other religions to make another religion. It's like we don't have that capability to be able to think that.
Well, and like
that.
So like Ezekiel and Job with the Leviathans.
Yeah.
Because have you actually read about the Leviathans?
That's in Genesis 1 too.
Yeah. So that's the second time that there's referenced, and they are two different creatures.
Yeah. Dude.
So God created two of them.
Yeah.
And killed one.
And there's a mention of Leviathan outside of the Bible that like in the I think it's like something in Mesopotamia, one of their books that kind of like it's almost like a reflex or kind of like
bro, I get goosebumps talking
no
about
yeah it's just it's insane
like because like it describes it as, and if you go through different translations, it describes it as this huge beast that couldn't be contained on land, so it was conformed to the waters.
Not gonna lie, low-key think it's still there.
I
little conspiracy theories here, but I think there's a Leviathan underneath the water.
I wouldn't be surprised because we haven't explored all the ocean either. Yeah. We've explored more of space than we have of the ocean. Yeah. Which is a crazy...
Yeah, like how it's it's supposedly endless.
But yeah, so like these descriptions of the Leviathan...
Did you hear that space is growing?
Is space progressive as well?
Apparently.
Whoa!
But no, what's that dude, that huge physicist?
Which one?
He's an atheist, but he's like... he's Neil
Armstrong?
No.
The astronaut?
No, the physicist, like Neil. He has like a really soothing voice. He's so you would know him as soon as if I say his name. Well, I did say his name, but anyways, I think he was one of the people who's like the space is like actually growing. Like we discovered that space.
Oh, Neil deGrasse.
Yeah, him. Yeah. I think he was like that space is like growing.
His show is amazing.
Yeah. He's pretty cool.
What is it on Discovery?
Like, I mean, I don't agree with a lot of stuff he says, but he's very smart. And I do like a lot of stuff.
The scientific approaches that he takes are very interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
To like the galaxy and black holes and wormholes. They did a whole documentary on wormholes with him, and it's mind blowing. You need to go watch it.
It's like, what is that? Why did God create that stuff? It's like, what is that? Like, what is happening out there? What is it actually happening?
Like listening to that, and then like the government nonchalantly drops, "Hey, aliens are real."
Yeah, right?
And then it makes you think, like, are they real?
What's going to be happening?
Yeah.
But it's just like part of me is like, okay, as of like what does God like? Because God made black holes. Obviously, He made creation.
Yeah.
But like, where does it go?
It's to swallow up things.
Yeah, but like, like I don't know. It's just like it's a
Yeah.
whole.
Well, isn't NASA sending stuff into black holes currently?
I think they're they're preparing to do that. I don't know if they're already.
Just wait till Elon gets a hold
dude,
of it.
right?
Wait, when
Dude,
Elon.
Did you see he was the first person to catch his own rocket?
Yeah.
Dude,
Came back down, docked and everything.
Insane. I mean, if they listen to what's his name from Big Bang.
Sheldon?
Sheldon. If they listen to Sheldon, he would have.
Yeah, exactly.
Already.
Man.
But yeah.
That was a crazy rabbit trail right there.
Right?
That was great.
We went
far.
Yeah.
That's all right. Yeah,
But
so
it's just like I just think there's so many things confirming Christianity
I think so as well. Yeah.
that trying to go outside of the Bible
Mm-hmm.
is where people get hurt. And like and
Yeah.
people so many people misrepresent what Christianity is.
Yeah.
And so they think, "Oh, you don't represent Christ,
Mm-hmm.
so Christ must not be good." So it's
Yeah.
like, well, you don't follow people, you don't follow churches, you don't follow this, you follow the Word of God and Jesus.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
Yeah.
oh man, we went down a rabbit trail
Yeah.
there, man.
Man. So I'll ask, have you seen progressiveness for yourself, like in real time? Like, have you seen a progressive, like, have you ever experienced like a progressive sermon or been in a progressive environment in church?
Are we talking about more of the liberalism one or the more of the like
twisting Christianity?
Gotcha. Okay. I personally haven't really been in it because I kind of try to avoid places like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm very picky about who I listen to, but I definitely obviously I've encountered it a lot through like social media, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
especially
a big thing.
like TikTok, all of that stuff. There's so much like I've come across so many people deconstructing. They're like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, there's actually a guy on there who's like he helps people who's deconstructing to come back to the faith because he deconstructed himself, but he did it through the Bible.
Yeah.
And so that's the whole thing is like you can deconstruct, like you can think, okay, I was taught wrong things, because if you grow up in a toxic church, then
bad doctrine.
bad doctrine, and then you're like, oh, this isn't what the Bible actually says. So it's just like, sure, deconstructing is fine as long as it's still going through the Word.
Yeah.
So, but personally, I wouldn't say I have, but I know that it is, at least here where we are.
Yeah.
Because I've seen plenty of churches at like pride marches and all that kind of stuff, and it's like,
I've experienced
like affirming churches.
I've experienced it firsthand.
Really,
Dude. So this.
Okay, go off.
Yeah.
Explain.
So this. I mean, I guess I can talk about. There's nothing. Yeah, I can talk about this. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
So this production company that I work for,
Uh-huh.
the Florida United Methodist Convention is held here.
Oh, really?
Every year, like annually.
Okay.
For the board of so like with the Florida Methodist Church, there's like districts, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of like how AG churches have districts.
Yeah.
So the district down here annually meets here in Lakeland. And so I was working for the production company that was, doing all the AV stuff.
Yeah.
And like, it's crazy because here are these people who claim to be Christians, yeah, and preach the word of God.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm walking around, we're like loading out, so like everybody's like events over, people are walking out, and like this guy, he comes up, he like comes to shake my hand, and I didn't even notice it at first because I'm just like I'm tired. It's like 9 o'clock at night, and we're loading out a huge event. It might not have been. It might have been later in the afternoon, but anyways, I probably slept all day and then went to work. And he just like comes to shake my hand. He's like, "Oh, thank you guys for everything you do. Like, the event was flawless. Like, thank you so much."
Yeah.
And he was a preacher, like man of the collar.
Yeah.
And his collar has the pride flag in it.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
And I was like, I was like taken back,
Like,
and I'm like
what?
shaking his hand. I'm like, oh yes sir, thank you. And like he walks away, and I was just like whoa. And
That
so, like
it's real.
it is real. And so like the Methodist Church is now like the like actively
affirming
LGBTQ plus or whatever in their churches, pushing
it's okay,
liberal
that,
female gay females into
leadership.
places of leadership.
Yeah, pastors. I've seen that.
Pastors,
Oh, yeah.
and then they literally what, like, I'm pretty sure if people watch this, like what you see on TikTok, and everything that is like super outlandish. Like I literally saw that firsthand.
Yeah, that's like that's insane.
And they talk about it like they don't have to be ordained.
Yeah.
Through any like ministerial like whatever. If they just go to the church, they can be like quote unquote ordained through the church there and put in a pastoral role. It's crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah. It like makes my blood boil talking about it. But that was like
it's just I'm just like, because it's one thing to like, okay, like, because we want everybody to be in church, but you come to church to be sanctified.
Yeah.
To change.
Yeah.
Like Sean's been doing a great job like at my church, and that he's talked about this recently. Is like you don't come to church to stay how you are. Like even like he even mentions like, okay, if you're born that way, because like there's been like it actually mentions in the Bible that there are people that have been born a certain way and they are told to abstain from be abstinent because I forget what they're called. I forget the name now, but there's a certain name in it. I can't remember the exact verse. But because of the way they were born, they are called to be abstinent. And so it's just like
even Jesus, I forget where it is, but it says like his spirit rejected his flesh.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we're not, and we're called to be born again.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And so we're not supposed to say who we are, because people are like, oh, this is the way God made me. I was born this way. It's like, well, let's say, sure, why not? But that's you were born into a sinless world, a sinful world.
Yeah.
You grew up this way.
Yeah.
You were come to church to be sanctified and to be. What's the word? I lost the word. Born again.
Born again. Yeah.
Just you're supposed to be changed.
Yeah. Like like all that to say, like that experience, like progressiveness is like already leaked into Christianity.
Yeah, for sure.
'Cause like these people believe wholeheartedly that the Bible is always changing.
Yeah.
And they manipulate scripture all the time. So like the ideology of progressiveness now inside of Christianity is that
Christianity itself is progressive.
Christianity itself is progressive and it's progressing. So putting it on an arc.
Yeah.
You know.
Like that it doesn't matter all these ideas.
So and if we link that with the theory that we talked about previously earlier, wouldn't that mean that they think we are going to be equal to God at the end?
They think they are God at this point. Like that they know better than what God said.
Well, and you see like all the clips of people like completely misinterpreting the gospel.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And like just taking it way out of context, and not even like. I think it's funny because like I see it on social media where these like woke preachers, so and so. I don't even want to call them preachers. They're just you know. But these woke preachers are they're cherry picking statements and texts from the Bible, splicing them together, and then completely twisting the interpretation.
Oh yeah, that's literally
and just making it so that it makes sense for what they're talking about.
Yeah. And
most of the time, it is not like at all what the scripture's talking about.
Yeah.
Or like doesn't hit any.
Just because they don't want it to be offensive.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't hit any point of like conviction or or nothing. Yeah.
And I don't know why we're so scared to be offended, because
Yeah.
the Bible is offensive.
Very offensive.
Very offensive. And if we look at what Jesus' life, how many times was he about to get stoned?
Yeah. Yeah.
Out of the things he said.
Yeah.
Like, there was so many times of where he slipped away because they were about to stone him.
Yeah.
And look at all the people who stood up for Christ. They were stoned.
Yep.
Stephen was stoned. It's just there's so many. It's just if you're having to affirm and coddle and manipulate the word because you don't want it to offend somebody, then I think we're not being true Christians.
Yeah.
Because I'm not someone, I'm very strong of I'm not gonna I don't know your heart, so I'm not in a position to be able to say you're not a Christian.
Yeah.
But there are, especially pastors. That's a whole different story. Is but we can see your fruits and we can see what you stand for.
Mm-hmm.
And if we see what you stand for is against what the word preaches, then it's okay to call it out.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, for sure. And so it's just man, we're going crazy.
Yeah, going crazy right there.
But it's just, progressiveness is and I think honestly it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to get worse?
I mean, inevitably it will.
Yeah.
As we get closer to
the end times.
We're
in the end times.
All right. I don't.
That's a whole nother.
I don't like when people say that. We'll do a whole episode on Revelation.
That's a big step right there. But yeah. No, but for sure, when I think it's going to get a lot worse, and I mean, especially towards the end. Oh, this came up before that was thought about. I wanted to mention is did you know that the Catholic Church took out one of the 10 Commandments?
Whoa, really?
Because they have a lot of idols.
Okay.
That they set up, and so the one about you should have no other god,
wow.
or kind of so kind of set up idols and all that.
Man,
they took that one out.
That's crazy.
Because of how we love you Catholic people, we do.
Moses would be furious.
Yeah, but my personal opinion is that they do hold Mary
as an idol.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them do.
Yeah,
not all of them.
Sure.
There's some very good Catholics out there, but a lot of them, they hold Mary to even a divinity status.
Yeah.
To where she was sinless, and that she's even is divine, and I think that's literally adultery.
Idolatry.
Idolatry. That's the word. Not adultery.
There you go.
Idolatry, because you're holding someone. You're worshiping someone else. You're holding them to a level of God who's not God.
Yeah.
And so that's a whole other thing there. But that was a little thing there. But I just thought it was crazy because it's already kind of getting into the. Oh, and there's also another thing that this pope that we have now is the last pope.
Man. I don't even want to get into all that.
So there's a lot. There's so much. There's a whole stuff that we can go into about that, but just stuff like that, just stuff like that. They're already taking out stuff like that. They're changing that there a little. It's just little things here and there.
Yep.
That they just creep into, and that's what I think progressiveness is in churches. Is that if you're not careful, you don't necessarily have to be saved, or you don't have to.
Yeah.
Jesus isn't maybe not the only way.
Yeah.
It starts little like that.
Starts like that, yeah.
It just creeps in.
Just guard your heart.
Little compromise here, little compromise there.
For sure.
And it just, before you know it, you're saying that Jesus isn't the only way and that he's not God and that you can live however you want.
Yeah.
And
man,
so
crazy times we live in.
Crazy times.
Paul would be upset.
Both of them.
Both of them.
My roommate
and Paul.
Paul. Yeah.
Man. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed today. A little bit spicier.
Little
spicier, but a little shorter though.
Yeah, a little shorter. We figured that since it was spicier, we'll let you shorten it so you can digest it.
Yeah, digest, marinate in it.
Yeah,
soak in that.
Let it marinate.
But Awesome.
Appreciate all y'all listening. And then you have a question that you want them to answer in the comments?
All right. Yeah. So
little fun one
I
and then
just
a little
hit my,
serious one.
tooth on the mic.
Ew.
Ow, that hurt.
That's why it's all dented.
Yeah, you're probably right. All right. Let's see.
A little fun one and then a little
A fun
serious
one?
A little fun.
All right.
Fun question and a serious question.
All right. So fun one. We're getting to the holiday season, right? You're
No more pumpkin.
No more pumpkins.
No more pumpkin.
But your cup says Merry.
Merry.
So Merry Christmas, you know. Favorite holiday scented candle.
Valid.
All right.
Okay.
And then 2 serious one. Oh man, what's a good serious one?
I mean, a serious one would be like if you have any more topics you want to.
Oh yeah, if anybody, we definitely want to do an episode on Revelation.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's
Maybe the next one, but we'll see. We'll see
might
if
need
we
a
get
couple
any.
weeks to study that.
Yeah, we will.
There's a whole lot of stuff in
there.
But
yeah, make sure you guys follow, subscribe for more, like it, dislike it. If you dislike it, it's all right. Still boost it on the algorithm.
Heck yeah.
Comment.
We love our trolls.
We love our trolls. Yeah, I think that's it.
It was good.
Sweet.
Thank you.
It's my knee.
Thank you again.
Yep.
And have a great day.
All right. Explosion.